Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. I just realized I did this last year, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue this theme, but I wanted to talk about my houseplant goals for 2024. Last year, I remember I talked about wanting to buy lots of giant plants for my plant room, and to a certain extent I did that. I bought a really nice second Monstera albo that was really big that I actually recently put up on a pole. I did buy a couple of big Aglaonema. Unfortunately, they have both died because Aglaonema just hate me and I don't really know why. But I feel like I bought a few bigger plants and they've been bringing me a lot of joy, but what's been a lot more rewarding is actually taking the plants that I have and making them bigger, like the ones that you see behind me on the moss poles. So that's gonna bring me to my first goal for next year, and that is to take my smaller plants and grow them into much bigger plants. Maybe not chop them as much, give them the support that they need. So one of them, as an example I have, is my Hoya Lima Splash. You guys would have seen with me here on the channel that I gave it this little ring plant stake from Propagation Diaries, and the little vine on it is growing a bit. I haven't felt the need to really attach it to the stake yet just because it's so secure on this stake right here, but it's been doing pretty well, and I really want to get a lot of my plants up on trellises, on poles, and just watch them flourish this next year. I really want to fill out this plant room, and I'm kind of sick of having to water little itty bitty baby plants every 5 to 7 days. So my first goal for next year is to just let them grow and let them get big and just see how big and beautiful they can really get in my care. My second goal kind of relates, and that is to take care of my current plants before buying new ones. Now, unless I see something that is a top wishlist plant and I absolutely have to have it, I really want to focus on taking care of the plants that I already have this year. I did run into some problems in 2023 where I just bought plants and I didn't really have a plan for it, or I had plants at home that really needed the help, that really needed the love and care, and I was just bringing new plants in on top of that. And it is always really nice and really fun to just buy a new plant, and I'll probably still do that quite a bit next year, but I want to make sure that the plants that I currently have are taken care of. Now, I did have a few things happen in 2023 where I just wasn't able to take care of the plants that I had, but other than that, I really want to make sure that I'm taking care of these plants, making sure they're happy, they're healthy, they're pest-free, and they're beautiful before I just go ahead and bring a bunch more plants into my home, into my plant room. I found that through a lot of this year, my new plants were in quarantine for much longer periods than they really needed to be because the plants that I had in here weren't healthy. So I had a couple of pest issues. So I had all these healthy brand new plants that I wasn't giving enough light, I wasn't giving enough humidity, whatever it was, because they had to go live in my living room or my kitchen, and they never got to really be in the plant room until recently. And I just don't want to do that next year. If I'm buying new plants, I want to enjoy them in the space that I've created for them. So I am really working on being on top of it, being on top of the pests, being on top of the watering, whatever it may be, so that I can go ahead and really enjoy my plants next year. My third goal for 2024 also sort of relates, but it's going to be a bit more specific, and I'm talking about my moss poles that you see behind me. I am so bad at keeping them watered. I feel like they dry out so much quicker than just a regular watering, and I find myself sometimes watering them twice a week. And I just don't want to do that, but I really need to be on top of it because the more that I keep them watered, the happier that these plants are, and they will go ahead and root into the poles so that they're happier, they're healthier, and when it comes time to propagate, it's a lot easier because they're already rooted. There are so many benefits to having a moss pole for your climbing plants, and I just need to stay on top of it. It's really just my fault for not being as on top of it as I should. This room is a bit drier just because Texas is drier and I'm way too lazy for humidifiers right now. So I just need to be better about the watering, and I also need to be better about extensions. Throughout this year, I have been better about giving poles to my plants than I would say I was in the past, but I still don't get the pole extended quite in time. And that can lead to leaves not sizing up because these plants that are climbing, they really need the the support in order for the leaves to size up. And that's what I really want. I really want the bigger leaves. I really want the happy plants. So I just need to be more on top of it. I need to be better about it. And that's why I'm going to be intentional and set a goal for it for next year. So hopefully I can get massive philodendron leaves or massive monstera leaves next year. And the plants will just thank me for it. They'll be happier, they'll be healthier, and they'll look even prettier. My next goal for 2024 is to not feel guilty about giving up on a plant. I have had quite a few plants this year that just didn't do well, and unless it is a plant, in my opinion, that is really expensive or one of my favorite plants, I don't want to feel guilty about giving up on it anymore. It happens. This is a hobby. You're not going to win every single battle, and with the amount of plants that I have in this room, I don't really have the time or the energy or the space to just be rehabbing plants over and over again. When I first got into this hobby, it was really fun to rehab plants. I would buy clearance plants that didn't look so well, and I'm not into that anymore. I don't care about it. It doesn't do the same thing for me as it did. I don't get that spark of joy from it, and I really want to focus on things in this hobby that bring me joy, and rehabbing plants just isn't it. If I have to chop up a whole plant and start over, that's one thing. But if I have a plant that's consistently sick, it's not growing, it's not happy, it's not doing well, and I feel like I've exhausted all of my options, I'm gonna toss it. It's just what's gonna happen. It could be a plant that looks half dead anyway, it's on its way out. I don't feel the need to save it. Most of these plants that I have, I paid less than $50 for, many less than $20 for. So it's not worth the effort. It's not anymore, and I can always replace it. There was a few years ago, I was talking to a friend in the community who said, if you get rid of a plant, you're not even gonna notice it. You're not gonna miss the plant. And if you really do miss the plant, that's the sign that you should get another one of that plant. And I have found that in plants that I've gotten rid of, I don't miss them. I don't. There are a few plants that I know where I'm like, I can't live without this plant. And that's gonna be my top tier favorite plants, like my variegated halo philodendron micans, maybe a silvery Hoya, maybe my Black Nosa Louisa silver. I really enjoy that one. I feel like now this Thai constellation, honestly, which is crazy because I used to hate this plant, but this is from the old stock, the 2018 version, and I just know that it's gonna get massive. Apparently it has better genetics than the new Thais that are out now, but I also know where I can get a replacement one of these, so it's like, maybe that wouldn't be the end of the world. Plants are replaceable, and that's okay, and it's okay to just give up. You know, I typically compost them because I have a yard I can compost, but if you've got to trash it, it's okay. Sometimes it's therapeutic. I did have sort of a session in here with Nutmeg this year where I went through the plants. Anything that was like half dead, wasn't growing for like a year or longer, just looked sickly, maybe it was overrun with pests, it was gone. All gone. I brought in a giant trash bag in here, filled it up, even if it was just dead leaves, just going through the plants, pruning off the dead leaves, it's very therapeutic. So I would encourage you to do that as well. Even if it's just pruning the dead leaves off of your plants, you're gonna feel a lot better because your plants are instantly gonna look prettier, and you're not gonna be bothered by that eyesore in the corner of your plant room. You're like, I don't know what to do with this anymore. I had plants I was hiding in a bin. I just threw them all out except for a couple that survived. And it feels really good. So I'm going to be teaching myself not to feel guilty about it, because I know in the past I have felt very guilty about it, and it's okay to just let go. And that is going to lead me to my fifth and final goal for 2024, and that is that it is okay to take a break from the plants. I kind of go through phases with my indoor and outdoor gardening. Sometimes I'm more into the houseplants here. Other times I'm more into my garden outside. Kind of just depends on the season, depends on what's growing well. And I find that in the winter, maybe fall, winter, I'm usually more into the houseplants in here, or maybe right before spring where it's still too cold to get the plants outside there, but everything's really starting to grow in here. So I'll just take a break, you know? I have to water out there almost every day, but other than that, sometimes I'll take a break from outside where I really just don't do much. I do the bare minimum out there and that's it, or I'll take a break from in here. Maybe a couple plants suffer because of it, but like I said before, they're all replaceable at the end of the day. And it just kind of resets. Maybe I'll get into another hobby more. I'll focus more on my training at the gym because I really like to do that. Or I'll focus more on spending intentional time with my pets because I have 4 of them now. I'll focus more time on doing like game nights with friends or my husband. So we kind of go through phases, we go through seasons with what we're into, and I think taking a healthy break is okay. Because like I said, all the plants are replaceable, and you gotta give yourself time for that mental health break to rest, recharge, and then you feel ready. You feel ready to tackle all of the things that you have to do with the plants, because I know sometimes I experience burnout with the houseplants the most, where I'm just like, I don't feel like doing it anymore. I'll say like, I just want to get rid of all of them, which I don't. I never want to get rid of all of my plants. I love them so much, but it just gets so overwhelming that I need a break, and that's totally okay. And I need to sort of embrace that and teach myself that it's okay, even if it's for longer than these plants would like. They're way more resilient than you think that they are. I had a couple months this year where I really just didn't get to spend too much time with the plants for various reasons, and almost all of them bounce back. They can put up with it. Maybe you've got a couple extra pests that you have to deal with when you come back, or plants that are really, really thirsty. Maybe the soil's a bit hydrophobic, so you got to put in some more work on them, but they'll come back. They'll all come back and they'll be okay. And I just think a break can be the best thing that you need. Even though I got into this hobby for my mental health, sometimes it can be a little bit too stressful, and that's when we kind of need to take a step back and prioritize other things. Now, that being said, I do love my indoor and outdoor gardening, and 2023 was a great year in both regards. I was able to get a lot of houseplants checked off my wish list that I always wanted, and it's been really nice to see, especially the plants behind me, grow nice and big, be able to repot a lot of plants into bigger pots. And my outdoor garden was the best year ever. I am so thrilled with how it's been going. The year and a half that I've been here, I took an empty stretch of grass and really turned it into something that I'm very proud of, and I've been able to feed my family because of it. So I'm very happy about that. I'm hoping that 2024 will be even better. But Nutmeg and I wanted to first thank you guys. I noticed at the beginning of this month, I hit 1,000 subscribers, and I obviously couldn't do it without you guys. I love reading all of your comments. I try to respond to every single one. And I love all the stories that you tell me about your own gardening. So thank you so much for watching this video and for all of the other videos on my channel. If you like this video, make sure to give Nutmeg and I a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here at A Cat in the Garden. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next one.